Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I welcome all of you for our Bhagavad Gita class. And today in this session 20, we are going to talk about why people do sinful things. So let's have a recap. So the objective of this class is to enable reading of the shlok, to understand the meaning of the shlok, and to help understand the basic philosophy of Gita. So today we will be completing this chapter and we'll be taking the last set of shloks. So the summary of what we have read till now, we started with Arjun's confusion. He had a question for Krishna, whether he should work or he should renounce. And then Krishna concluded that Nishkam Karma Yoga is better for Arjun than Gyan Yoga. And he told that even if someone is self-realized, he understands that he is not this body, he is the soul. And also when he understands the relation with Krishna, Supreme, what happens still? Krishna says that even if you are a Jnani, it is always better to do your prescribed duty. And then he gives example of Maharaj Janak. And he says how Maharaj Janak, although he was self-realized, he knew what needs to be done, but still, as a king, he did all his prescribed duty because everyone follows the leader. And then he gives example of himself. And he says that be a karma yogi, work with detachment, and don't disturb the ignorant men who think themselves as a doer. He makes it very clear that those who are ignorant, no need for you to go and disturb them, but you should do your duty with detachment and offer all the results to Krishna. And again, the last shlok that we all read about, that is, one should do one's own duty according to their nature instead of imitating others. Everyone, based on their karmas, they have their prakriti, the nature they have acquired, and they should work according to their nature and they should not imitate others. That's how we finished last time. And the question that was asked was, are all sinful acts done due to ignorance? And we realized that no, it is also, although we know that if we are doing something which is sinful, but then we are forced to do something. And we also saw how Prakriti, the mode of goodness, the mode of passion, and the mode of ignorance by which we are conditioned, that and the vasanas and the sanskar which we are carrying with us from the previous births, that also has a role to play for our activities, right? So now we finished last 3.35. Now let's go to the third chapter, 36 shlok. Please read after me. Third chapter, 36 shlok. Arjuna vacha.
Arjuna vacha.
Athakena prayuktoyam.
Athakena prayuktoyam.
Papam charati purusha.
Papam charati purusha.
Anichanapi vashneyah.
Anichanapi vashneyah.
Baladiv niyojitah.
Baladiv yojotitah.
Arjuna vacha.
Arjuna vacha.
Athakena prayuktoyam.
Athakena prayuktoyam.
Papam charati purushah.
Papam charati purushah.
Anichanapi vashneyah.
Anichanapi vashneyah.
Baladiv niyojitah.
Baladiv niyojitah.
Mataji.
Arjuna vacha.
Arjuna vacha.
Athakena prayuktoyam.
Athakena prayuktoyam.
Papam charati purushah.
Papam charati purushah.
Anichan api varsneya.
Anichan api varshneya.
Baladiva ivani
Niyojitah. Baladiva niyojitah. So now Arjuna is asking Krishna, oh Varshneya. Varshneya is the descendants of Vrishni. He is coming from the Vrishni ancestors. Right. So he's saying, oh Varshneya, oh descendant of Vrishni. Athkena. Athkena, why is it so that someone is impelled to do sinful acts? Why is it? Anachanapi. Anachanapi means even that someone doesn't want to, he does not have the desire, anicca, without desire, but still, and also he knows papam chariti purusha, even though knows it is sinful. But why is it that he does this sinful act as if baladeva niyojita, bal, as if he or she is forced to do it. Baladev, bal is by force. Why is it as if that person is forced to do it? Yeah. So now, why did this what makes Arjun ask this question is the last time we read the shlok number 34. And what was the shlok? When Krishna said, Indriyasyendriyasyarthya raga dvesha vyavasthitau tayorna vasham agachat tau hayasya paripantino. So Krishna said that there are principles to regulate attachment and aversion, rag and dvesh, and we all should live our life following the principle of attachment and aversion pertaining to the sense of the objects. Yeah, and one should not come under the control of such attachment. One should not come under the control of such attachment and aversion, because if we get into the control of the attachment and aversion, what will happen? They are the stumbling blocks on the path of self-realization. In your spiritual journey, you are blocked. So now, this shlok made Arjun think that, yeah, we all are supposed to work as per the principles of attachment and aversion. But then, why is it, although we know all these things, we are forced to do some of the activities which we know is not as per the Shastras, which is not as per the scriptures. What make us do that? So here, Krishna answers this in 37th shlok. What does Krishna says? Please repeat after me. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha.
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha.
Kama esha krodha esha.
Kama esha krodha esha.
Rajo guna samudbhavaha.
Rajo guna samudbhavaha.
Mahashano mahapapma.
Mahashano mahapapma.
Vidyenam iha vairinam.
Vidyenam iha vairinam.
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha.
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha.
Kama esha krodha esha.
Kama esha krodha esha.
Rajo guna samudbhavaha.
Rajo guna samudbhavaha.
Mahashano mahapapma.
Mahashano mahapapma.
Vidyenam ihi vairinam.
Vidyenam iha vairinam.
Mataji.
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha.
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha.
Kama esha krodha esha.
Kama esha krodha esha.
Rajaguna samudravadava.
Rajo guna samudbhavaha.
Mahashano mahapapa.
Mahashano mahapapma.
Vidyanimahi varinyam.
Vidyenam ihi vairinam. So now, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. What did Krishna says to Arjun? He says, Kamesha. Why do we do sinful things? Although we know it is wrong, it is because of Kam. It is because of Kam. Kam is, one of the meaning of Kam is lust. One of the meaning of the Kam is lust. It is Kam. And then it says, what is this Kam? Why does this Kam happen? How does it happen? Rajo Guna Samudbhava. Rajo Guna is mode of passion. Rajo Guna is mode of passion. Because of mode of passion, what happens? Lust develops. And because of the lust, what we do? We are forced to do some of the activities that we should not do. And then he explains the characteristics of this Kam. He says, Mahashano. What is the meaning of Mahashano? Mahashano means Shano means eating. And Mahashano means it eats away everything. It is all devouring. What does it eat away? It eats away your character, it eats away your reputation, it eats away you yourself. All the good qualities that you have, the lust eats away. Yeah, it eats away. Mahapap. So what are the characteristics of this Kam? It is Mahashano. It is like it eats away all your qualities, good qualities. Mahapap. And this Kam is highly sinful. Mahapap. It is greatly sinful. Vidyamehe. Vidyamehe is know this. Varinam. And it is the greatest enemy. It is the greatest enemy. Varinam. It is a very. Very means enemy. So it is the greatest enemy. So what is Krishna saying? Krishna is saying that why do we do sinful things? It is because of the calm. It is because of we are under the influence of calm. And we'll talk about the first meaning of calm, which is lust. So, and then he says, Kam Esha Krodesha. Calm is because of mode of passion, and Krodh is because of mode of ignorance. Mode of ignorance, right? So please let me read the meaning and repeat after me. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said,
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said,
it is lust only,
Arjuna,
which is born of contact with the material mode of passion,
which is born of contact with the material mode of passion,
and later
and later
transformed into wrath. Wrath is anger.
later transformed into wrath,
And which is the all-devouring,
and which is the all-devouring,
sinful
sinful
enemy of this world.
enemy of this world.
Okay, so the Supreme Personality of Godhead said it is lust only, Arjun, which is born of contact with the material mode of passion and later transformed into wrath, and which is the all-devouring sinful enemy of this world. Now let's talk about Kam as a lust. Yeah, which is a commonly known word for Kam. Yeah. So I'll tell you a story from Bhagavatam, right? So I think I've also told this earlier about Ajamil. Yeah. So Ajamil was a he was a 24-25 years Brahmin, and he was used to all the Vedic scriptures, and he used to follow all the Brahminical values that was there. He used to do chanting, he used to do praying, he used to go to, and he was like any normal culture that you have at a Brahmin's house. That's how he was. But what happened once, his father asked him to go to forest to get some flowers and fruits. So when he went to forest, what happened? He actually saw, he saw a lady and a prostitute and some man. And he saw that, they were doing some obscene things. They both were fully drunk. And he saw that, they are doing some obscene things. And looking at that, he knew that he's not supposed to watch it, but he was so attracted to watch it that his lusty desire started, it started coming out. Although he tried to close his eyes, tried to divert his attention, thought about what he has learned in his, what knowledge he has, but still he could not stop that. But finally he got the fruits and flowers and came back home. Even at home, he just could not stop thinking about that prostitute, thinking about that scene, what was happening. And slowly, the more he'll think, the more and more he was getting attached to that prostitute. And finally, he went in search of that prostitute and brought her as a maidservant in his house. And then, because of that, what happened is, he stopped doing all the things. Whatever money he used to have, he used to buy gifts and used to spend all his wealth on her. And slowly he left the house. He started, his character really went down. He started doing gambling. He started doing, cheating. He started in all the ways he could get money. He got that money and used to fulfill the desire of this lady. And finally, what happened? He also had multiple kids with that lady. And finally, the good thing that he did was the last child he had, he named as Narayan. Yeah. Now thinking about that Narayan, what happened? And he was very attracted to Narayan, and he used to keep on talking Narayan. That is what was happening. So unknowingly, also he was doing a very great thing of speaking the Hari's name. And what happened finally was that that time had come and he had to die. And Yamdut, they came to take his soul. Now, because when he saw some figures coming to him, what happened? Because of all the he was so frightened, he called Narayan. He was actually calling his younger son because of the attachment. But it was full as of he's calling for greater help. He started speaking so loudly that Vishnu Dut, they came. And they're seeing, and now Yamdut are confused that, why Vishnu Duts are here. And now what happened? This Narayan is on the deathbed, but he is listening to the conversation between the Yamdut and Vishnu Duts. And Yamdut are asking Vishnu Dut, why are you here? Because he is such a fallen, trodden person. He has to be taken, and we have come to take his soul. And Vishnu Dut are saying, no, he has called Narayan for help, and that's why we are here. And finally, on his deathbed, he is listening the conversation between the Yamdut and Vishnu Dut. He's listening the conversation between both. And finally, what happened? The Yamdut, after the conversation that I'll, when we're talking about that chapter in Bhagavatam, I'll talk about, finally the Yamdut left him with the Vishnu Dut. Vishnu Dut also left him and went. Now in his deathbed, he heard all the conversation talking about how bad he has done, how when the Yamdut was describing all his bad characteristics, and Yamdut and the Vishnu Dut talked about the good things he had done. He realized that he has actually spoiled his entire life, and he is the most sinful person. What he deserves is actually hell. And then he also realized, because he heard the conversation of Vishnu Dut, that there's time for me to change. He realized how bad he had become from what he was, and he left everything. He actually left everything. He went to Haridwar and he gave up everything, and he started just chanting the holy name of God, worshipping God, reading scriptures and spending time with the Brahmins there. And finally, in reality, Vishnu Dut came and took him. So we saw in this story how lust can impact the characteristics of a person. A person who was so good with all the good values, when you see something which is lusty, lustful, it can impact. If you keep on thinking about it, it can actually impact you so much that you can fall down, that you can fully fall down. Yeah. And that's what happened in this with Ajamil, right? So now what happened? So this is the, when you talk about Kam as lust. But what is the Shastric definition of Kam? It is not only lust. It says, Atmendriya Priti Vancha Tare Bolo Kam. Our senses, the Gyanendriya that we have. What are Gyanendriya? We have eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and skin. These are our Gyanendriya, right? When any of these senses, when they are attached, when we are using these senses for ourselves, for fulfilling our desire, that is Kam. That is Kam. And Krishnendriya Priti Vancha Tare Krish Prem Nam. But when we are spending all this, when we are using all our senses for Krishna, then it is Prem. Yeah, that is the difference between Kam and Prem. So when we say Kam, it is not only lust. We should not just talk about the attraction between, opposite gender. But Kam is also when we are using our senses, or any senses, which is not for service of Krishna, then it is basically, like you think about, our tongue. When we see a gulab jamun, and we can't stop it. Yeah, right? Similarly, so any senses which we are doing and the desires for us, it is basically Kam. Yeah. Then the question is, we say, as in 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that we are part and parcel of Krishna. Who are we? We are part and parcel of Krishna, right? And whatever qualities we have, it is also in Krishna. Yeah, because we are like a minute particle. We are like a minute particle with all the qualities which is there in Krishna Dham, right? In the spiritual world, right? So now it means, does lust is also there in the spiritual world? So the answer is no. In reality, what we are, why are we here in this material world? Because we wanted to enjoy away from karma, away from Krishna. Who are we? We are part and parcel of Krishna. And what is our role? Our role is to serve Krishna. What is our role? Our role is to serve Krishna. Our role is to love the God. But what we do? We don't want to love God. We don't want to serve Him, but we want to be master of our senses. What do we want to? We are tired of loving Him, and we are not enjoying that anymore. We want to be the master of our senses, right? So what did we do? We moved from the spiritual world to the material world. And this world is nothing but a perverted reflection of the spiritual world. This is a perverted reflection of the spiritual world. So the love for God there is lust that we have developed. And lust is for other things. It is not for Krishna. That's why we are here. Okay? So it's like, the milk and curd. What happens? Milk is pure. But when you put a tamarind, what will happen? Curd. Similarly, love is pure. But when we get perverted, it becomes lust. Okay? So that is what it is. So that is calm. Yeah. Now after, so why this calm is brought? Why is it? Because it is a mode of passion. All of us, mode of passion means what? We want to enjoy. Mode of passion means we want to enjoy in this material world. That is the mode of passion. And that is what is Rajoguna, right? Then what is this? How does this, what are the qualities, characteristics of this calm? It is Mahashano. Mahashano means it eats away everything. Just now I talked about the story of Ajamil. So what happened to Ajamil? With all his good characteristics were taken away as soon as he was attracted by lust. What happened? He started doing all, stealing, gambling to ensure that he can satisfy the other person. Right? So what happened was Mahashano. It is when you get into that lusty, you think when people are, they want something, what happened? They don't even mind taking bribes, doing all the wrong things to ensure that their desires are met. So what is that? That is lust. You don't even know what you are doing. You go ahead because you want to satisfy something, you want to achieve something, and you don't have money. You don't even mind going, doing, and taking bribe. What? Just to satisfy your senses, desire, right? What is this? This is nothing but lust. Yeah. So it is Mahashano. It actually takes away your character in all ways. Reputation, character, that's how it is. Mahapap. It is extremely sinful. It is extremely sinful. When you are lusty, it is extremely, what will happen? How it will become? It will extremely, and that is the greatest enemy. Why is it the greatest enemy? Because it is a blocker to move in the spiritual path. It is a blocker to move in the spiritual path. Yeah. So now we'll go to the next shlok, which is shlok. So now let's talk about the second word. Kam esha krodesha. So what happens? From Kam, Krodh comes. Now, if you go back to second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, where we talked about the entire cycle, how the entire cycle and why do we get angry? We talked about the entire cycle of how we get angry. And that was in second chapter, shlok number 62 and 63. You don't have to see. I will just talk about that shlok. So how Kam and Krodha related is what I'll be talking about, right? So what happens? The shlok number 62 of Bhagavad Gita talks about Dhyayate Vishan Punsa Sangyaste Upajayate Sangat Sanjayate Kamah Kamat Krodha Bijayate. It happens like that. When we want to have some object, our sense, like eyes, it will get attracted to sense objects. So for what? Eyes will get attracted to something which is beautiful, something that I need. So say I'm going to a mall, yeah, and I saw a beautiful, maybe a dress or some ornaments, yeah, or maybe, I saw that which is extremely expensive, yeah, or for male it will be something which is electronic, maybe the latest iPhone which has come, or the latest phone which has come. Now iPhone is so expensive, 1 lakh rupees, and my budget is not there. I cannot. But I have seen that latest iPhone, and even though I have come back home, but I'm thinking about that iPhone. Oh, what a nice color they have got. What nice features. They've got 3 cameras. Do you know your phone has got 2 cameras, but this phone has got 3 cameras. And do you know it has got this feature? So my mind is getting I'm not leaving my mind. I'm getting attached to that object again and again. Although I've left the mall. I've come home, but my mind is still attached to the object. It is still attached to the object. And when I'm thinking about that object, what will happen? I'll get attached to that object. I'll get attached. Even I've gone to office, I'm talking to my friends. Oh, do you know about that latest iPhone? You know that feature has come. And I know it's 1.5. Intentionally, the value will be so high that you can't afford. But still, you want to have it because you want to also show everyone that I have that. Right? So you're attached to that and you're talking about that. So when you keep on talking about what will happen, attachment, lust develops. Lust is craving for it. Lust is craving for it develops. Now, there will be two things will happen. Either you will go at any cost, go and buy it, although you may not be able to afford, you'll take some loan, something, and you will go and buy it, or you'll get very frustrated. If you're honest, you know that you have to be, you will get frustrated, and that will create anger. Because of that frustration, what will happen? Anger will come. I could not achieve it. If you think back in your life also, there must be many things that you would have wanted and you could not get it. So what is it? It resulted into anger.
Definitely.
Right? So kama esha, krodha esha. So because of kam, that lust comes, what happens? Either you achieve it, or at any cost, or you'll become angry, you'll become frustrated. And then what happens? The shlok number 63 of second chapter Shloka, which Bhagavad Gita talks about, when you get angry, what happens? Krodhat bhavati sammoha. Krodhat bhavati sammoha. Sammohat smriti vibhrama. Smriti vibhrashad buddhi nasho. Buddhi nashat prashyati. So what will happen when you start getting angry? Then your lack of judgment, you are not able to see what is right, what is wrong. And because of that, your memory becomes bewildered. Your memory becomes bewildered. You start getting, I don't know why, you're frustrated, memory becomes, and then your intelligence gets lost. And when your intelligence is lost, you fall down. What happens? You fall. One fall. You means all of us. It is something with all of us. If we are in this material world, we have calm. That's why we are here. If you would have been pure, we would have been in the spiritual world. So all of us are a part of it. This is happening with all of us because we all are in this material world. The degree may vary from people to people, but that is a reality for all of us. So what will happen? We have fallen down. The pure soul is pure. Soul is always pure. It is pure, but then it is covered by lust. It is covered by lust. And because of which we have fallen down to this material world from the spiritual world. Okay, so this is what, if you go back to our shlok, kama esha krodesha. So we'll have desires which will be calm. Because of this calm, which becomes because of the mode of passion, because we need something, if we don't get it, krodh comes. And what will happen to what are the qualities that we'll get? It will be mahashano. It will eat away everything, your peace, your mind, everything. And it is the greatest sin, and it is our greatest enemy, because it will make us fall down more. Our soul will fall down. We will fall down more in this material world. Okay. Let us go to the next shlok, which is shlok number 38. Take the Gita from there. We'll now say third chapter, shlok number 38. We'll say, Dhume navriyate vahanir. Yatha darsho malena cha. Yatho labena garbha. Tatha tene damavritam. Dhume navriyate vahani. Yatha darsho malena cha. Yatho labena vrito garbhas. Tatha tene damavritam. Prabhu. Dhume navriyate vahanir.
Yatha darsho malena cha.
Yatha darsho malena cha. Yatho labena vrito garbhas.
Tatha tene
damavritam. Now, dhumena vriyato vahanir. Dhumen is smoke. Yeah. And vriyate is covered. Vahanir is fire. Yeah. Yatha darsho. Darsho is mirror. Darsho is mirror. Malen is dust. Yeah. Like mirror is covered by dust. Yatho labena vrito garbha. Garbha is fetus. It is the embryo. And labena is womb. Yeah. Tatha tenedam avritam. And that is how that's how it is covered. So now it's talking about how we talked about lust. Now, how the soul is covered by lust is what we'll be talking about. Yeah. So the soul is covered by lust into multiple degrees. It has a multiple degrees of covering. The soul which is pure, we are in third chapter, 38th shlok. Yeah, third chapter.
182.
Yeah. So basically what happens, the soul is pure, but it is covered by lust, and there are multiple degrees of covering. There are multiple degrees of covering. Here it talks about 3 degrees of covering, which is just like a fire is covered by smoke. A fire is covered by smoke. Because there is a fire, that's why there is a smoke, but still it is still light because you can still see the fire. You can still see the fire. So that is one level of covering. Yeah. And that is called minimal covering that you have, right? The second level of covering is a mirror that is covered by dust. Yes. When you're standing in front of a mirror which is covered by dust, can you see yourself? You have to really rub out the dust and only you can see. That is second level of covering. And the third level of covering is like the fetus, like the embryo in the womb, which is really deep. The fetus is covered so much in the embryo, the embryo is covered so much in the womb that it can't even move. That is if it is it's the highest degree of covering of a lust. So it's said, and that is how, so there are 3 degrees of covering which is explained in this particular shlok. And it says, in human, for human, it is more like, the covering of lust is more like a fire covered by smoke. It is little. It's so much that you can see the fire, and if you actually try to purify your consciousness by praying, chanting, and connecting to God, you have an option of coming out of that lust. Coming out of that lust. Now, if the degree of the covering is medium, where it is too much of dust, it is high, the lust is high, yeah? It's a medium degree of lust. It is normally in animals, yeah, where the lust is so high. I mean, the type, if you look at the animals, it doesn't matter for them. It is it is a public place or whatever, where there's no rules and regulation they follow, yeah. So lust is is covered in a medium degree, but when it comes to the embryo covered by the womb, it is so high that you can't even move. And that is for the living entity like trees. They all are living, but the lust is so high that you can't even move. So there are the various degrees of covering that the pure consciousness are covered with. Now, there is a point when you say a minimal degree fire and smoke example, when you give the example and you say that for human it is there, it is if the human consciousness is at that point, if the human consciousness is at that level where he is at a level and questioning, who am I? Why am I here? You got it? If the human consciousness is at that level, when he is questioning, who am I? Why I am in this material world? When can I be free from this cycle of birth and death? Why is it so? When he is at that level, then he is supposed to be in human consciousness. Then he or she is supposed to be in human consciousness. That is the degree when the fire is there and it's covered by smoke, because it's already in the path of spiritualization, thinking, what is this? Why am I bound there? Why am I bound here? What is happening? Who am I? What is my real identity? Am I this body or am I soul? When all these questions, when Brahma Jigyasya starts coming up, then actually then you are in a human life. And then you can give an example of covering equivalent to smoke and fire, which, because you have started, you will actually, and you have started questioning these things, you will actually start moving forward. Now, if you're covering, if the covering is so high that you are not even bothered, yeah, you are just enjoying in the material world, you don't even know how much covered you are by lust, and you are just enjoying your senses, and you have let your senses go loose and doing whatever you want in the name of freedom. Yeah, I need this, I will have this. I want this, I will have it. If you are in that mode, then although you look like a human, but you are actually an animal. You can be equated, your consciousness can be equated to a animal consciousness, because your senses, which are there to actually pray to God and is dedicated to God, to go back to Godhead, your consciousness, your senses are actually attached to the, is so lusty, they're attached and enjoying the pleasures. It means you're still falling down. Your consciousness is not going up, but you are still falling down. Your senses are just engaged in enjoying life. It means your bondage to in this material world, the life, the cycle of birth and death cycle which you are in, it is going to continue more. So although physically you look like a human, but your consciousness could be equivalent to a animal, just like the mirror is covered by dust. Understood? So although your consciousness is like an animal consciousness, because you are just into sense enjoyment. Yeah. And if you don't care, the last one, which is the just like a fetus is covered by the womb. Yeah, if that is your consciousness, where nothing matters, you're totally in the mode of ignorance. Yeah, then that is like trees, like you're stuck. You are destined to go down more to the hell and other species of life, right? Because we know about there are 84 lakh species of life, right? There's only few are human. Even though you look like human, you may not be in that consciousness if you are not asking why, who are you, why are you here, what is the purpose, and you're trying to come out of this cycle of birth and death, right? So let's read the meaning of. So I would request Prabhu, you read this, right? Yeah. As fire is covered by smoke.
As fire is covered by smoke.
As a mirror is covered by dust.
As a mirror is covered by dust.
Or as the embryo is covered by the womb.
Or as the embryo is covered by the womb.
The living entity.
The living entity
Is similarly covered.
Is similarly covered
By different degrees of this lust.
by different degrees of this lust.
Now we go to the next sloka, 39. Avritam jnanam etena.
Avritam jnanam etena.
Jnanino nityavarina.
Jnanino nityavarina.
Kama rupena kaunteya.
Kama rupena kaunteya.
Dushpurena analena cha.
Dushpurena analena cha.
Avritam jnanam etena.
Avritam jnanam etena.
Jnanino nityavarina.
Jnanino nityavarina.
Kama rupena kaunteya.
Kama rupena kaunteya.
Dushpurena analena cha. Srilekha.
Avritam jnanam etena.
Avritam jnanam etena.
Jnanino nityavarina.
Jnanino nityavarina.
Kama rupena kaunteya.
Kama rupena kaunteya.
Purena analena cha.
Dushpurena analena cha. Let's read the meaning. Thus,
Thus,
the wise living entities,
the wise living entity,
pure consciousness,
pure consciousness,
becomes covered by his eternal enemy
becomes covered by his eternal enemy
in the form of lust,
in the form of lust,
which is never satisfied
which is never satisfied
and which burns like
and
fire.
which burns like fire.
Yeah. So now let's look at the shloka again. Avritam. Avritam means covered. Avritam means covered. Jnana metena jnanino. Jnanino means someone who is a jnani, who understands, who understands. What does he understand? Jnana metena, who understands, who is a poor conscious person, living entity, who understands the difference between the body and the soul. The body and the soul is a jnani, right? Nitya Varina. Nitya Varina is eternal enemy. Nitya Varina is eternal enemy. What is eternal enemy? Kam Rupena, in the form of lust. Lust is the eternal enemy of the Jnani whose consciousness is covered by lust. Konteya is Arjun, O Arjun. And Dushpuren. Dushpuren means which can never be satisfied. Lust can never be satisfied. Analin. Analin is fire. Cha. Just like fire. You know, if you keep on putting ghee in a fire, it will never extinguish. Right? If fire is there and you're putting ghee, drops drop, even little, it will keep on burning. Similarly, the lust, it will never get satisfied. If you think, okay, let me have one, and then, you know, you are not supposed to eat gulab jamun, and you say, okay, I am a diabetic, but doesn't matter, let me have one and I'll be done. If you eat one, you'll like to have one more. Yeah. You cannot satisfy thinking that you will, okay, let me have one more and I'll be satisfied. Yeah. Similarly, smoking or drinking, any such thing, you think, okay, let me have little, and that is the last. You'll end up having more because it is like a fire. You are pouring ghee to it, and when you give, it will again blaze more and need more. Yeah. So that's what it is, that the lust is the eternal enemy in the form of lust, and it covers our consciousness, and it can never be satisfied. The more you want to enjoy, the more bondage you are entering into. And there's a story in Bhagavatam about Yayati, King Yayati and Devyani. So let me tell you the story now. So King Yayati, so what happened was, there was a princess called Sharmishtha. She was basically princess of a Daitya king, demon king, right? And Shukracharya is the guru of demons. Shukracharya is the guru of demons. So her daughter is Devyani. Shukracharya's daughter is Devyani. And Devyani and Sharmishtha, they are friends. So Sharmishtha, she's a princess. Along with all her friends, she actually go to take bath in a river. She goes to take bath in the river along with Devyani. Now, when they're taking bath, Indra, you know, in the form of wind, he came and he took all their clothes and bundled it up. Now, they got up and Devyani by mistake took Sharmishtha's cloth and wore. Sharmishtha is the princess. And now when she saw, Sharmishtha saw that, she took away the cloth and she got very angry and she started abusing Devyani that look at the Brahmins, they live on our tukda, and still, you know, she had dared to wear my dress. And Devyani got so angry because, you know, Brahmin's daughter and she had to Guru's daughter, and who is this princess? Yeah, because of us they are working. So there was a fight between them. And finally, the princess was high-minded. She pushed Devyani into the well nearby. Devyani went into the well nearby. And Sharmishtha, along with all other friends, went back. Yeah. She went back and told the king. Now the king was very worried hearing this. Now what happened? Now here Devyani, she's in the well and she's calling for help. And Yati is a king. Yeah, he was actually coming in the horse. He heard someone asking for help. He came there and he looked at Devyani. He helped her to come out. And Devyani said, now because you have held my hand, you have to marry me. Whoever you are, you have to marry me. So he said, I mean, you know, I was just helping you. But finally Devyani said, no, I am Shukracharya's daughter. You will have to marry. And now Yati also got a bit worried. And now Devyani ran and went to Shukracharya and told the entire story. Now, you know, the anger of Brahmins, and they can curse. Now, the king saw Shukracharya coming to his palace, and out of fear, he actually, you know, came down from his throne and ran out because he never wanted Shukracharya to curse him. And he said, I know. Please tell me how I can actually, you know, solve this problem. Help me. So Devyani had already told his father that, you know, this is what I want. So the Shukracharya said, okay, so my daughter is going to marry Yayati, and 1,000 maids plus Devyani plus Sharmishtha will go along with my daughter Devyani as a maid in marriage. Now to save himself, king said, whatever. So now what happened? Sharmishtha, who was a princess, actually went along with Devyani as a maid. Now, there what happened was, now Yayati and Devyani were husband, and Shukracharya warned Yayati, whatever may happen, she is your maid. Sharmishtha is your maid. But they started having affair, and Devyani had 2 kids, and Sharmishtha had 3 kids from Yayati. Now, by then, Devyani realized that the king had an affair with Sharmishtha. And then she made a havoc out of it. She went to Shukracharya and told about it. And Shukracharya cursed Yayati that you will become old. You will lose your young age, and you will become youth, and you will become old. And he became old. Now Yayati started pleading that it was not my mistake. Sharmishtha, she had requested. And so when Shukracharya heard the story, he said, fine. He started pleading, I'm your Devyani's husband. What will happen? I've become old. He said, okay, I bless you. You can go and exchange if anyone is ready to change your youthness with you, you can take that. So he went. Yayati wanted to enjoy. So he went begging for the youth with everyone, to his sons. And his youngest son, who's Puru, he agreed to exchange his youth with his father's old age. So father's old age was taken by Puru, and he took his youth. And then what happened? Yayati enjoyed for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. And then he came back to Devyani and said, I have realized no one can actually be happy on this world. Whatever amount of sense enjoyment you do, you are actually remain empty. It is always an emptiness. You can never be happy. So let us go now. Let us leave all this thing and go to forest. He went to Puru. He took his old age, gave his youth to Puru back, took Devyani, and went to forest for prayers, and finally attained his moksha. Yeah. So that is again, and there are multiple such stories in Bhagavata which talks about whatever you do for thousands and thousands. That's why even we have multiple lives we have been led, but still we are still in this world, right? Now we go to the next slok. Indriyani mano buddhir asya adhisthana muchyate ete vimohyatyesha jnanam avritya dehinam. Indriyani mano buddhir asya adhisthana muchyate ete vimohyatyesha jnanam avritya dehinam. Mataji.
Indriyani mano buddhi.
Indriyani mano buddhir
Ashadi sanam.
asya adhisthana uchyate. Adhisthana uchyate.
Etera vimohayate.
Eteir vimohayatyesha.
Jnanam avritam dehinam.
Jnanam avritya dehinam. So we talked about the lust. So now Krishna is giving us the location of lust. Where does it stays? We should know in our body where exactly this stays. If you want to get out of it, it's the greatest enemy. If you want to fight with the enemy, you should know where do they stay, right? It says Indriyani. It stays in senses. Mano, mind. Buddhir, intelligence. Asya, adhishtani, uchyate. These are the seating places of lust. Eteir vimohayatyesha jnanam avritya dehinam. And through them, so dehinam is your soul. So jnanam, the jnana is avritya means covered. It's covered. Jnana is covered by the real knowledge is covered by this, and vimohayatya means it gets bewildered. It gets bewildered. So let's read the meaning. The senses, the mind, and the intelligence are the sitting places of this lust. Through them, lust covers the real knowledge of the living entity and bewilders him. Right? So now, think about a terrorist. What does the terrorists do? They take the most strategic position so that they can actually harm maximum people. Yeah. Similarly, the lust has taken the strategic position of the sense. Our senses, eyes will get attracted to the form. Yeah. Ears will get attracted to sound. So the senses, it has got stuck. It is there in the senses. It is in mind and it is in intelligence. This is the places where it has got strategic position. It has taken. Yeah. And the senses wants to enjoy, and whatever they want to enjoy, the mind and senses are very closely connected. Whatever you want to, desires that you have, all those desires get stored in the mind. Mind is the reservoir. Mind is the reservoir. Whatever you are seeing with your eyes, ye acha hai, ye khana hai, ye pehna hai, ye karna hai, all those desires are stored in your mind. Yeah. So mind is your reservoir. What is intelligence? Intelligence is your guard. Intelligence is your guard. It is the guard of your soul. Soul is your pure consciousness, is your consciousness. And intelligence is actually your guard. It protects. It doesn't let the soul get, it tries to guard the soul from getting the, wrong things to soul, right? From senses or mind. So that is the thing. That is how the relations are. But what happens? So intelligence is like next door neighbor. So suppose the friends, it's a Friday evening, and the friend says, "Oh, come, let us go and let's go and party and have some liquor." So what the friends will do? The mind will say, "Oh, okay, it's a Friday evening. Why don't we go and go to the pub and have fun?" Intelligence will say, "No, don't do that. That is not right. You should not do it." So intelligence will always guard you. Will always try to take you in the right direction, unless the intelligence itself gets perverted. And how can intelligence get perverted? When your desires are so high, so strong, so strong. If your desires are very, very strong, yeah, what will happen? It will also impact your intelligence. And then when intelligence get impacted, then you are really fallen. Then no one can help you. It is like, imagine a security guard. He has been bribed, who is supposed to protect you, and that guard is actually bribed. So if the guard is bribed, then the soul is anyway gone. No one can protect it, right? So that is how the relations are, right? So now, Vinashakale Viparit Buddhi, right? So that is how it is. So now let us go to the next slok. So now if this is how the situation is, so the question is, it's how to come out of it, how to conquer them. That so that is the next slok from 41 to 43. That is what Krishna explains. How can we conquer rest? We know where it is seated. We know the how greatest enemy it is. Now how can we protect ourselves from this? So that is the next slok. Slok number 41. Tasma tavam indriyana adau niyamya bhartashaba papamanam prajahisyenam jnana vijnana nashanam tasma tavam indriyana adau niyamya bhartashaba papamanam prajahisyenam jnana vijnana nashanam. Tasma tavam indriyanya adau niyamya bhartashaba papamanam prajahisyenam jnana vijnana nashanam. So now here Bhartashaba means Arjun, who is the descendants of Bharat. So Krishna says to Arjun, Bharatashaba, oh Bharatashaba, what do you do? Prajahi means curb. What do you curb? Curb means kill. What do you stop? Papamanam, the great symbol of sim, which is the sim. Niyamya means regulation. By regulation, what do you do? Tasma tavam indriyanam. So in the very beginning, curb this greatest symbol of sin by regulating the senses. You control your senses so that this lust could be controlled. That is what Krishna says. And Hyenam Jnana Vijnana Nashanam. And what does it do? It's Jnana and Vijnana Nashanam. Nashanam is destroyer. And what is Jnana? Jnana is that I am not this body, I am this soul. That is Jnana. And what is Vijnana? Vijnana is the relation between soul and the God. Soul and Supreme God is called Vijnana. Right? So now let us read the meaning. Therefore, O Arjun, best of the Bharat, in the very beginning, curb this great symbol of sin by regulating the senses and slay this destroyer of knowledge and self-realization. So now Krishna says the first thing that you have to control is your senses. All your Gyanendriyas, which actually takes in things. Your eyes, your ears, your tongue, your nose, your skin. They are the Gyanendriyas. First control that. Don't let it come. Although there are three things he talked about in the previous verse. Your Indriya, your senses, your mind, and your intelligence. But he says, first control your senses. Why? Because it is easiest for that to control compared to your mind and intelligence. And then in the Upanishad, there's a very good example, description of this. So all these things have been compared to a chariot. I'm sure all of us would have heard about it. Our senses are like the 5 horses. Yeah. And the ropes which is the chariot driver is carrying is the mind. And the chariot driver is the intelligence. The chariot itself is the body. And the passenger who is sitting in the chariot is your soul. So the Upanishad says that the horses, why you have to control your senses? They are like the horses, right? The 5 horses, right? So what happens? Just imagine if these horses are not in control and moving in multiple direction, what will happen? The rope which is covering these the horses, you can't control them, right? And the chariot driver, the intelligence will also move here where will not able to control it, right? But if the horses are controlled, if the senses are controlled, then the mind will be calm. The ropes can be held properly. So if you will control your senses, then your mind could be calm. And when your mind is calm, then your intelligence can be stable. And when your intelligence stable, then you can protect, it can guard your soul, right? So that's why it says, first of all, control the senses, which is the for lust, which is the lust which destroys your knowledge and self-realization, right? So this is there. Now the question is, we go to the next shlok number 42. Indriyani prayahur Indrebhyah paramam manah Manastu para buddhir Yo buddhe parastu saha Indriyani parayahur Indrebhyah paramam manah Manastu para buddhir Yo buddhe parastastu yasaha. Yeah.
Indriyani paranyahur.
Indriyani prayahur.
Indriyebhya param manah.
Indriyebhya param manah.
Manasastu para buddhir.
Manastu para buddhir.
Yo buddhe paratastu sa.
Yo buddhe parastu sa. So now here talks about now the hierarchy, how the hierarchy is there. Indriyani parayahur. So our body is the dead matter. From dull matter, what is your senses are higher. From senses, Indrebhya paramana. From senses, mana is higher. Man is higher. Manastu para buddhir. From man, buddhi, intelligence is higher.
Yes.
And from buddhi, the soul is higher. This is the hierarchy. So now it says you control your senses, right? We talked about, Krishna said, first control your senses, which will calm your mind. And when your mind is calm, then you can strengthen your intelligence. And from intelligence, you can save your soul, right? So now here it says, how can you do it? What is the method? It is only by connecting to Krishna, chanting the glories of Krishna, listening to the reading the scriptures, what will happen when you do all these things? You are strengthening your intelligence. When you are moved your consciousness towards God, what is going to happen? When you are reading whatever learning we are doing today, you have gained some knowledge, right? So when you have this knowledge, now you are more aware about how it works. Yeah, when you are more aware, you will be more conscious about how we'll do it. Yeah, so how we can strengthen our intelligence? We can strengthen our intelligence by reading the scriptures, by moving more conscious. And when our intelligence is strong, what will happen? When mind says, I want to do this, I want to do that, they say, no, this is not right, don't do it. And that is how it will take us in the right path. And we go to the last shlok today. Evam buddhe param buddhva संस्तभ्यात्मात्मनात्मना जहि शत्रु महाबाहो कामरूपम दुरासदम एवं बुद्धे परम बुद्ध्वा संस्तभ्यात्मानमात्मना जहि शत्रु महाबाहो कामरूपम दुरासदम. So let's read the meaning. Thus knowing oneself to be transcendental to the material senses, mind and intelligence, O mighty armed Arjun, one should steady the mind by deliberate spiritual intelligence, and thus by spiritual strength conquer this insatiable enemy known as lust. So now Krishna explained to us why do our soul gets degraded? Because of lust. Where does the lust is? In our senses, mind and intelligence. And what we have to do? We have to control it. And what is the first thing we have to control? Senses. Cut yourself out of things. Something which is going to attract you, just shun yourself from that. So that when you don't see, your senses don't see, you'll be able to control it. And that is how you can go and towards reading your scriptures, Guru, Sadhu, Shastra. Take the help of Guru, Sadhu, Shastra. Be in the association of devotees. Chant the mantra. What will happen? Your intelligence will become stronger. And when your intelligence will become stronger, you will be able to conquer the insatiable enemy called lust. Yeah. So with this, we finish today's class. Hare Krishna. Let us chant the Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.